Hello and welcome back to another excellent video, and this is breaking news actually, and this is about Mayor Buttigieg, the first major gay candidate to run for president after Obama, of course, has dropped out. Okay, now this is breaking news. Why? Well, I just read it, and this is the number one trending thing on Twitter, and that is to say that this is major news. Now, when we look at the RCP averages, we're going to see that Mayor Pete was a second tier candidate. He was even at about 11% before he dropped out. Now, this is major. We came from the earth shocking conclusion from a couple days ago that Thomas Steyer dropped out. Ooh, that is, wow, big deal. But now, at least we have a major candidate like Pete Buttigieg out as well. This thins the field down to Sanders, Biden, Bloomberg. I like the three Bs. Warren, Klobuchar, and Gabbard. Now, Gabbard is a non-factor. I hate that she's still in the race, but let's skip over this irrelevant Indian or whatever she is. Let's get to the point. Mr. Buttigieg here, former mayor of Nowhere, Indiana, basically got his point across, and that is that he's a moderate young guy that is a sociopath, antichrist figure of the left, and that message did not approve well. Now, why did he even run to begin with? I think he ran because he wants to get the name recognition. Now, he was not delusional to the point, I think, where he could have won. Because, look, there's two ways that he got into the race. Either one, he was delusional enough to think that he could win. Or number two, he was smart and said, I'm going to get in the race. I'm going to assume that Biden and Biden and Sanders are old enough and they're weak enough as candidates that I can run when they are running, and then I can exploit their oldness. Maybe they'll die on the campaign, pick up their support, take up the mantle conveniently. I think that is very convenient, and I think that's also kind of like a long shot way that he could have became the nominee for president. Now, he was the mayor of a small city. That is to say that he had nothing to lose. He ran for state treasurer before he went for mayor, I think in 2010 or something like that, and he got completely crushed. That is to say that he does not have the political capital circa 2018, right before he even announced at all that he wanted to become a presidential candidate, to do anything really. He could not become governor of Indiana like Mark DeWine or like our Vice President Pence. And because Indiana's safe red, it's like what 20 points Republican or something. So I just don't see it as a viable place where he could become anything really relevant. Unless he wants to run as a Sherrod Brown, but nobody would vote for a gay man that's for the worker. Okay, well that I know of. Anyway, the point is that he wants to get more national recognition so that he may run in 2024 or he may run in 2028 or something like that. Now, in the meantime, what is he going to do? I think he's going to run for a DNC chair. I think that he is going to find something to do that's relevant. He saw already that the little experience that he did have at McKinsey or a place that pays him six figures or maybe even the low seven figures or whatever, that is super corrupt, of course. Whatever a CIA spook like him would do. Doing that, he could easily do it, but obviously what a little experience he's already had has screwed him in the campaign so far, so I think he won't risk it again. So what will he do? I see this kind of like what would happen with George H.W. Bush, which is like the CIA, very aristocratic type of guy, this sociopathic man is looking for viability, and he just does not have the it factor to become the president. Like circa 1980, he was second place to Ronald Reagan, but he became the VP. So I don't think that's going to happen with Buttigieg because he would have said already or something. And this brings up a bigger point that what does Buttigieg do right after he drops out? If I were Buttigieg, I would have made a deal with Biden or Bloomberg maybe and say that I will become your VP and I'll endorse you for that role. Or I think Pete could do relatively well as Secretary of State. But point is that you want him to fulfill that role. And he would, any appointment really, even Department of Energy would be a step up from whatever the hell he's doing now, which is nothing technically, because he's only the former mayor of Indiana, South Bend. Okay, so If you look at the South Bend mayor, you see that the local politics are kind of against it, and acutely so. What he has going on is not that of a important thing, and that is to say that he does not have any capital beyond the state of Indiana, nor does he even have the high turnout that he would need to win the state of Indiana as a presidential figure. He does not have the gubernatorial statute for that. He does not have the leverage to become a senator. Maybe a congressman from a blue area in Indiana could work. He could theoretically do that, but I think after becoming a presidential nominee or a serious contender, I don't think he should become a congressman. I don't think that's ever really worked, from what I know. So Buttigieg already ran for DNC chair in 2016, I think, and he lost soundly. That is to say that he's already been trying to look for leverage and power in places where he normally would not, because he's a sociopath and he's the Antichrist. He comes off as that. And you could look at that when I think E. Michael Jones made a book about him too, right? Or that, E. Michael Jones, this Catholic man, this Catholic figure, goes and he lives next door to basically Buttigieg, and saw him growing up and all this. And when you look at his history, it shows him as opportunistically wanting to become president since he was like 8 years old. That is to say that he does not simply have the gusto. He does not have the gusto to go quit and not do anything. He really desperately wants to become the president. And when you go around celebrating something that is not to be yours, and that is the presidency for Mr. Buttigieg, you are going to go and look like a very bad person. And when people catch on to that, your reputation is going to be thrown in the dirt. I think this is what happened to a certain extent with Pete Buttigieg this time, and that is to say that he was seen as an opportunist. He was seen as a guy that, okay, Mayo Pete, right, or faux Obama, wannabe. That's exactly what he is. And you could really tell that this guy watches former Democratic presidents and then tries to mimic their best qualities and then tries to package that into something that is viable, when acutely you can see that it didn't work this time. And this isn't to say that he can't run in 12 years and then everybody forgets that part, because Joe Biden had that similar problem in 1988 when he plagiarized somebody's did plagiarism in his essays and everything like that, to where he was seen as disingenuous or a punk or something. And you know what? This is exactly what they look at Pete Buttigieg with, those lenses, and he simply can get to a point where everybody forgets about it and doesn't care. That old charismatic smile of Biden, as creepy as it may sound to say it, works out in his favor, and that's, I think, what Buttigieg can somewhat conjure up. Though him, thinking of Buttigieg as like a nice, warming person is ironic because he's gay, so that it probably makes him a pedo. But whatever. Point is that this is breaking news, that he is able to become such a high figure in politics for a little while, for a year, right? And become America's little boy here, like Beto O'Rourke, but, longer lasting, of course. Longer lasting with men, too. And capture that spotlight, hold on to it. He has to do something politically within a year. Why? Because he's going to lose the juice. Okay? Because he has that momentum that a person like maybe Anthony Weiner or like Mark Cantor had, Eric Cantor did, up-and-coming young-ish politicians that have plenty of years ahead of them that, for one reason or another had a slip. And, Pete Buttigieg didn't really have that major slip, but things added up, and he just never caught on. That's exactly why he dropped out. Okay? So a couple takeaways from the video. That is to say that he dropped out. Who's going to benefit? I think Biden is going to benefit. I think maybe if we're going to take 100% of that, 11% of that electorate, the national RCP averages that Buttigieg left, I think maybe 40% of it will go to Biden, 30% will go to Bloomberg. That leaves 30%, and I think 20 of that is going to Klobuchar, and I think 10 and 10 is probably going to Warren and then Bernie. And some polls say that the preferred option after Buttigieg, those supporters of him, say that it's Sanders. I think that's completely asinine. That makes no sense. They have nothing in common, okay? So this campaign leaves us now with a Jew, a white man, a Jew, a white woman, a white woman in Gabbard is a joke. She doesn't matter. She won't even qualify for another delegate, as far as I know, unless she waits until Hawaii, but I don't think she'll have the money. Who will he endorse? I think he will endorse I think he'll endorse Biden. Whoever pays the most is going to get the endorsement. And you know what? I think that Barack Obama was hoping that Buttigieg could become the nominee so that he could really get that youth vote. And it's like, no, he wouldn't. But he would get that youth energy in there that Obama himself had in display in 2008 and 12. This is why Obama has waited to endorse. Because if he had endorsed Buttigieg, and he dropped out, that would look terrible, right? That would diminish his support as well as a president. So let me look. If you were to look up the Twitter of Pete Buttigieg, you would see that he's trending. He is completely blowing up, and it's astounding to say that he held on for this long. He was really delusional, and thank God that he dropped out for the moderates. This will help Warren take votes from Bernie to be viable in certain counties or congressional districts, and this will help Biden tremendously, and it'll help Bloomberg substantially, which is good for everybody but Bernie. Okay? It even helps. And look, this is very interesting. They even have a thing where, look, Pete Buttigieg even has a thing on his Twitter that says chip in money 10 hours ago when he probably knew damn well that he was going to drop out. But he takes that money, and I think he's going to use that money to get into another campaign, which is very weird to me. He cannot be mayor of his own city. What the hell is he going to do? Nothing. He has basically thought about dropping out this whole time, and he just simply does not. He has not made it. Okay. So, I want to thank you guys for watching. I am grateful if you stuck around this whole time. I wonder how this will affect the polls. We'll see how the prediction turns out. I want to leave you with the note that I am so, thank God that somebody dropped out again. It's so exciting to see how the dynamics turn. The race is tightening. Chasten is tightening. Okay, look. Thank you guys for watching all the way through. Like and subscribe. Comment what your predictions are.